Hey guys, DW here. One of the first things you'll notice in Fallen Earth is that the world is quite massive. This global map here just shows Sector 1 space. This is one of 4 tiers in the game, and it's quite large. So one of the first things you'll want to do in the game is find transportation, like this horse here. Finding transportation is quite easy, but I've encountered that a lot of players have questions about exactly how to go about getting their horse. Now, a horse makes travel so much easier, so I figured why not spread the wealth of knowledge and tell people how to get a horse. So here's how you do it. First, you find your local garage. You go to the horse merchant here. Now, there are several ways you can purchase a horse. You can buy the horse directly by clicking on the riding horse thing that is highlighted right there. Now, this costs about 600 chips. Chips are the in-game currency, as you know. This is quite expensive, especially for a new player. So another way you can do it is to craft your own horse. As you can see here, under the horse training craft section, you need several ingredients to create a horse bridle. You need 1, an untrained horse. 2, some ragged leather. And 3, you need a couple of sacks of horse feed. Now, all of these ingredients can be purchased or scavenged throughout the game. Once you have those ingredients, you simply combine them to create the horse. So here's how we do it. Go back to the horse merchant and buy the untrained horse. Click on it, click buy. The horse will be added to your inventory, and from there you can go on crafting the rest of the ingredients that you need. Now to do this, you open up your crafting menu. Here I'm going to purchase some horse feed to make things easier. I don't have to craft it myself. To craft horse feed yourself, you need tainted grain, which is a level 45 nature skill item. It requires 45 nature skill to harvest that, and it might be level 6 or 8 until you get that skill in nature. So sometimes it's easier to buy it. It's still cheaper than buying the actual horse. So here's what we're doing. We're going to combine the ingredients here. As you can see here, you need tainted grain and some tainted vegetables to create the horse feed. So it's your choice, really. You can either buy the grain or you can make it yourself. I mean, buy the horse feed or make it yourself. As you can see here, we've got the ingredients together. You've got your untrained horse, you've got your 5 pieces of leather, and your sacks of feed. Now, after you create the horse bridle itself, which takes about 6 minutes, you can create one of these riding horse bridles. That takes about 24 minutes, but it gives you an improved horse. About 30 minutes later, your horse will be finished, and you simply click on it to start enjoying the ride like this. Now, as you notice, the blue bar on the horse window in the bottom left corner there decreases as you ride around. This is the horse's fuel indicator. It's basically the horse's stamina. ATVs, motorcycles, cars, they all have fuel assets, gasoline and such. Horses simply have stamina. So, as you ride around, this stamina decreases. If it gets to 0, it needs to be refilled or your horse will be worthless. So as you can see here, here's the refuel icon on the horse GUI. There are several ways you can refuel the horse. You can give it some horse feed by clicking that refuel icon. Also, if your horse's hit points here, seen in red, drop, you can repair the horse. Now, I want to show you something special. Not only can you feed a horse and refuel it by giving it horse feed, there are also several abilities in the game you can use to refuel the horse. One ability is Fortify. This is a first aid skill, and you get it pretty early in the game. This basically gives you a regen over time for endurance, the stamina of the horse. There is also Refresh, which does the same thing, except it's a greater amount over a shorter period. So you cast these 2 buffs on the horse, and the stamina will slowly increase over time, as you see here. If you do this enough, let's say you're crafting or AFK, cast these on your horse before you leave and it's not riding around or whatever, and the stamina will build back up over time. If you do this enough, this means that you will never ever have to feed your horse. It's very handy, and I highly recommend both of these first aid skills. Now, as you see here, this is the horse's info window. It shows a variety of traits, such as the health and the defense, and a bunch of useless statistics like the braking and all that, which are not really necessary for a horse, but come in handy for the ATV. But most importantly is the inventory. You can store 100 pounds worth of equipment on your horse in a bunch of different inventory slots. Now, another nice feature of the horse is that you don't just ride it, you can actually enter combat from the horse's back. As you can see here, you can fire ranged weapons, rifles, crossbows, etc. Or you can even pull out your dual pistols and go to town that way. This is an interesting concept in that you don't have to be on ground to fight. You can maneuver, and if you want to do some hit and run from horseback and you don't need to loot items, you can do that. It's a pretty cool concept, I think. Now, I know that was kind of lengthy, but let's take a quick recap of the talking points. First, you want to find your local garage and your friendly neighborhood horse merchant. This guy sells all the supplies you'll need, except for the tainted grain if you want to make the feed yourself. Now, from this merchant, you can buy the horse for about 600 chips, depending on your various skills and attributes. Next, you'll want to collect all the ingredients you'll need to make the horse. To do this, you will need 1 untrained horse, 5 ragged leather, and 3 sacks of horse feed. You could also make the horse feed yourself using 3 tainted grain and 2 tainted vegetables. This makes 5 sacks of horse feed, which is enough to make your basic horse plus the upgrade. Now, you can make a better riding horse using that horse bridle you just created in about 6 minutes of time, plus an additional sack of feed. This takes about 24 minutes, so 30 minutes total for your horse, roughly. Now remember, this step is highly recommended. Use those first aid skills you worked so hard for, especially Fortify and Refresh, because they give you a much needed stamina regeneration. Using these skills, and I'm sure there are others out there, you will never ever ever have to feed your horse again. And lastly, enjoy the ride, 'cause it's worth it, trust me.
I've been through the desert on a horse.